going on? RGIJ is back, baby. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the regular G.I. Joe podcast. I am super stoked today because of the guests we have on. And Mike's eyes are not deceiving him. They do look the same because they are twins. But the guests today are my really good friends, Heidi and Heather. So welcome, ladies. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Miss you, Izzy.
I know.
It's been a long time so much.
I'm glad you guys came on. Me and Mike, when we started the podcast, we slowly started talking about bringing people on. And we try to keep it sort of in a veteran environment because he and I, we're veterans. But initially when it was created was just to try to provide a platform for veterans, to share stories and things like that. So we sort of wanted to continue that. So, we were trying to get guests that are also sort of veteran related, but have done great things within their lives. You know what I'm saying? So the first person that came to mind was a good friend of mine that he was an author. We had him on our last episode that we did. And I told Mike, I was like, man, the guests I want to bring on are these two girls that I was with in the Air Force. And now they're on the path to wanting to be actresses. So if you can, whoever's the oldest twin, I don't know who's the oldest twin. Who's the oldest twin? Oh, okay.
2 minutes
so
older.
then 2 minutes old. All right, so Heidi, you go first. Give me your narrative of how you came, where you at, what led you up to where you at currently right now. Give me your narrative.
To talk about the Air Force stuff, Heather and I both joined the delayed enlistment program when we were 16. So we had our jobs ready to go when we graduated from high school. We got our top secret clearances and everything. So we knew pretty much like what we were wanting to do after high school with the military. So we graduated, and 2 weeks later, we're in basic training together, and we're wingmen through basic and through tech school for command and control. And then I got stationed at Travis Air Force Base, and Heather got England. So I spent a total of 11 years in. I did 4 years active duty, and then I did Air National Guard in Madison, Wisconsin, where I worked with the F-16s. And Izzy was my trainer when I first got to Travis.
And you learned a lot. You learned a lot.
You were so gracious with me. I was so scared, being 18, and it was like this whole new world. And it was like, you just threw me in and very sweetly, said, you got to just do it. And I remember getting on those UHF radios and talking to those pilots. And for me, I feel like the military proved to me what I was capable of, you have these opportunities in life where you don't really know what you're capable of until you're put into situations. And so I'm just forever grateful for all the different sort of situations the Air Force gave me. But then sort of around 2008, so I was still in the Air National Guard in Wisconsin. Heather and I had moved to Wisconsin together after she got out, and she could tell her side of the story, of course, and her experience. But it was 2008, we were we've always wanted to do acting classes and improv, and we would go on walks together and dream and just talk about creating things. And so we started at Second City in Chicago in 2008, and we both went through the whole improv program, which is a year program. And we went through the acting program there. And it was pretty much 2011, I decided, am I going to move to Chicago because they have a great theater world there, or am I going to take the plunge and go to LA? And I decided to go to LA. So I've been here for the last 11 years now. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And my journey started in England, and then I went to Italy. And then I got out and went into the reserves in Milwaukee and went to Minneapolis. So I spent a total of 12 years just in active duty and the Guard and Reserve. And then I got out in 2013. And it was the same story. I've always been an actor. And I think we both always knew that we were actors. It was just, we were in the Air Force and doing other things.
Yeah.
So it was kind of this calling that now is the time to do it kind of thing. And I went and got my BFA in Missouri, and my fiance was getting his PhD, so we kind of went to school together. And then Heidi moved to LA, and I was like, well, I'm obviously moving to LA. There's no other option. I'm not going to go do this without her. She's always been my buddy, my wingman. So we're here together and have been here 8 years now total. So we're pursuing the dream, and I think we're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
That's incredible, because I'll say this. One, I've actually visited them in Madison, Wisconsin. I went there for New Year's.
Yeah.
Fucking cold as hell. I was freezing my ass off. But when I first, in the day, it was weird because in the daytime, they took me to like the where the college campus was and everything else. And it literally was like nobody was out. Like nobody comes out in the daytime. I don't know, maybe because it was so cold. They're hibernating, right? So then later on in the night, we're like, okay, we're going to go out. And I'm like, all right, cool, let's go out. So we go. And all of a sudden, we're walking into alleys, like alleyways. And Heather is like, we're going here. Next thing I know, I'm going downstairs to some spot. And it was underground club. And I'm like, oh, man. Like the whole time, honestly, to this day, like I tell people that was like one of my top New Year's was in Madison, Wisconsin. And everybody's like, Madison? And I'm like, yeah, it was such a good time. Yeah. So let me ask you this. So now that we're in acting, what inspired you guys? Like, was there anything early on I know you said you were already actors, like you felt like you were actors. What was the inspiration for that? Was it in the family, your upbringing?
I think so. Yeah. We were dancers when we were 3 years old, so that we always had like that performer kind of background. And then we did theater, and then I just think we always knew that we were kind of meant for like the stage or something, performer based. So it was,
our mom got us into dancing when we were 3. So it's like, and we would compete. And so there's this element of like, once you have that in you and it's like a part of who you are, like you can never leave it. Mm-hmm. But I think a lot of people are coming to being actors in their later years too. And I always try to encourage them, like, it doesn't matter what age you are, like, do what you are called to do, at least try, because life is too short, right?
Yeah, and I think too, I would encourage anybody who's been in the military that has that acting bug. I think half of our auditions that we go on are military based.
Absolutely.
And I've booked military commercials, and you audition for military roles. And like if you can get a headshot in your military uniform, that's a huge bonus because they want people now that are real. They don't want someone pretending to be prior military. They want real people.
Correct.
So,
and there's a great community out here called VME, Veterans in Media and Entertainment, and they're huge. They're like, I was able to be seen by ABC executives last year because I was a veteran. Oh, wow. And they opened it up to all these veterans to submit. And so it's like, there's a huge community in the acting world for veterans, which is fantastic.
Yep. And the filmmaking world too.
So that was like completely off base from your question of how this started.
No, but so when you guys landed in LA, was that frightening? Were you guys nervous? Because I'm sure it's a culture shock, right? Yeah. Because it felt right.
Yeah, it was.
Really?
Like, I was 32, so I was like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready for this. I trained. I got my degree, and then I got really lucky, and I got hired as a background on Ray Donovan on Showtime.
Yes, congrats! I saw that.
Yeah, they bumped me up to a co-star, which was a speaking role, and then I got to be on 4 episodes of that. So that was like a huge win. That never happens, for one thing. And Liev Schreiber, who is the star of that show, basically gave me my co-star on that show, which is
that's awesome.
So it was like this great momentum too. I think just knowing that you can come out here and stuff like that happens, like it's not outside of that world, like it could happen to anybody, and you just got to be ready and prepared. And and then Heidi and I booked a commercial a couple years after that. And then you kind of have to slowly build your momentum
keep
up.
Plugging
keep
going
and getting those roles.
Now, do you guys have an agent? Is that the process? Like when you get there, look for an agent, and then the agent basically helps you guys?
I would never advise to first thing is to get an agent. I would get into classes. So that's sort of what I did. I started at Playhouse West, which is to me one of the best schools in LA because it's Meisner technique based and you really learn how to act, but it's coming from yourself. It's all these great tools that they give you to learn how to be a good actor and do improv classes, do on-camera classes and build up that resume because no agent's going to want to hire you, fresh out of Kansas City,
Right.
You can get great pictures taken, you can, but I think the more that you're training and showing people that you're, doing web series, you know, and making your own projects. And then you can go to the agents and managers and be like, here's all the things I've done and what I'm creating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're building your resume with that, basically, is what you're doing. And then when you go see these agents, you're showing them that you are multiverse. Like, you are able to do comedy, you're able to do horror and everything else. So these acting classes, are they setting you up for also like Broadway theater? Or is it just specifically for like the film industry, like movies?
Yeah, it's mostly like
you could do anywhere.
Whatever market you're in, it's very focused on, like LA is TV and film. So Broadway would be more New York, and then Chicago has kind of both worlds. So you can take theater classes out here, though, or film. And
that's what I did. I mean, the school that I went to is actually from New York. The Meisner Playhouse actually started in New York City. So they brought it over to LA back in the 80s. And so it's very much like theater based, the training. You're on stage the whole time. And then, you know, you pivot and you go do a commercial class. So they teach you how to talk to the camera and how to have sight lines and who to look at and how to have a reader and everything. So it's good to have like all of those kinds of classes or training under your belt. So you're not just theater and you're not just on camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So with acting, I know unless you get sort of like a permanent gig, how do you guys make by? I know you said keep plugging into it and stuff, but I'm assuming you ladies work outside of it. Like you have.
I've had the same job. I'm an executive assistant at a commercial real estate company, and it works out perfect because all the auditions we do right now, especially during the pandemic, have been self-tapes. So we have these great lights, and we do exactly like how we're talking to you guys right now. Like we audition through our phones pretty much and like record it, upload it to the casting sites for the people.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's like you have to, I tell people like you have to have a job. You have to be able to survive because you have to pay for headshots. You have to pay for these classes. You have to pay for all the casting. And it's very overwhelming if you don't have the money to eat, let alone try to be an actor. So like put yourself in a position where you can succeed, you know, and not go home and be like, oh, I failed. But when really you failed because you didn't have enough money, which you can always find an assistant job or, you know, wait tables or whatever it is. So
I'm fortunate I get to be a stay-at-home mom because I married an engineer. I highly recommend it.
Ching, ching. Ching, ching.
Have the money just flowing in. That's just really my advice. But a lot of people are not that lucky, and I realize that very much. You know, Heidi works full-time, and, you know, I've done other things too throughout my life, but it's very much you have to be able to afford your acting career.
I'm still trying to find a sugar mama for me now that I'm retired. I'm trying not to go back to work at all. I'm going to school now, and the GI Bill is covering for that stuff. Yeah. But after my GI Runs out, I need a sugar mama. I need somebody to take care of me.
Like, aren't you in Florida? That's where they are.
I'm prime for the senior community out here. Yeah, rich old bras, right? That's awesome. And does your hubby say anything? Like he's just very supportive.
He's
like
so
just
supportive.
go
do it. Or,
yeah, he'll help me buy lights. He taught me. He basically was the one to say, you know, if you really want this, like you have to be the one to like edit your own projects. You have to be the filmmaker in this because I was like, oh, I can't do that. Like I'm an actor. I'm not a filmmaker. But really, I became a filmmaker because of Toby, but also because I had to be, because there's just, there's not as many roles compared to actors out here. So it's like, you really have to make your own work. You have to like keep going and chugging along. And so I learned how to edit and film, and it's been incredibly empowering, I have to say. Like, I love it. And yeah, he's very supportive.
Because if you notice, even now, like, there's been articles about actors or actresses, like they'll make a big hit movie, but that's not a guarantee that you'll still continue to be an actor and actress. You know what I'm saying?
An HBO series for 4 years, and then that series ends, and you're like
and then what do you do?
Like waiting for your next break. You know, so it's like.
Now, how was COVID?
It's COVID.
Because I'm sure shut everything down, or
we thrived during COVID.
Totally
really?
Yeah, it was very much like Heidi and I knew, like we're like, all right, this is either going to be our time to shine, you know, or we're gonna just fall within the mix of everybody else. So we got these awesome lights set up. We got our self-tape studio set up. We're like, we're going to be as professional as we possibly can be in this because we want to succeed. And I ended up booking more stuff in the last 2 years than I ever have in my life. So it's been great, and I hope it continues. I'm not wanting COVID to continue, but I hope it
Right.
the success of that just keeps rolling.
So is the success from being able just to do a lot of more web series and things like that
Tapes.
versus going out and actually auditioning for a gig, or?
Yeah, because you go to a studio or an office and you only have one shot, whereas when you're at home, you can do it as much as you can if you're nervous, or you can do 100 takes until you find the one that really works. And it's a huge advantage that actors have, I think. And a lot of people don't like doing self-tapes.
Yeah.
They hate it. But I'm like, no, we're not going to go into this with that attitude. We're going in with a very, let's do this, Let's
Because it's more like people that don't want to have the power in their own hands. They're going to be like, oh, it's too much outside of me. But if you can really embrace the fact that you can self-tape, edit, and submit it yourself, to me, it's very freeing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can embrace it and get good at it, then
you're
going
going
to
to
succeed.
power.
Yeah.
Are there anybody that you guys idolize that you were like, because when I look at your work, the stuff that you have out online and everything else, it seems a lot of comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You've been doing a lot of just funny skits and everything else. What brought that about? Why comedic? Or is it just difficult to do horror sequences or love sequences? Or does comedy just come more easily to you guys?
We love it. I think there's a need for lightheartedness, and we grew up watching Mel Brooks movies, and our dad was really in it.
I love Mel Brooks.
We love doing it. Yeah. We did improv, so it's just fun. It's just more fun to do this stuff. You see all these actors out here, they want to be serious. They want the serious roles, and that's great, but for us, it's the comedy is where it's at.
I was in a play, and I worked on it for a year and a half called Night Mother, and it's a very famous 2-person 1-act play, and I had to kill myself at the end of it, and it was very serious, and I grew a lot because it was on stage, and I just proved to myself what I was capable of doing. But at the end of it, I was like, "Fuck, I am
so sad.
I need comedy, man!" Everybody was leaving the theater crying, and I'm consoling people. I'm like, I'm still alive. I was at that moment, I'm like, I don't think that this is the energy I want to put out into the world. I think I want to bring joy and light. So. That's and plus we've just always been, we were doing comedy in our living room as kids. So
it's in us.
It's in us.
Yeah.
You need diversity though, because, and even like you were saying with filmmaking, there are now a lot of actors that are being able to do that because of the fact that they just trust their work more versus letting somebody else do the work. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. I understand they have directors and whatnot, but some actors sometimes feel like, I don't like the direction you're going into. You know what I'm saying? Because I could envision this movie this way versus how you're envisioning, because then you're sort of taking away what I put into it. If you ladies send me your resume, your web series, whatever, and I look at it and I'd be like, oh, let me change this. You might be like, well, that was the pudding. I don't want that change.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
exactly.
So it's good that you actually diversify your background because you need it, especially in the acting world. You definitely do need it. Halle Berry was one of them, how she did that movie Bruised on Netflix. She directed and produced the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Adam Sandler's big on doing his own thing, But you need that so that way you could just do your own creativity into it.
And the auditions that we get too are serious sometimes, and you have to take that route, and that's understandable. It's the role, and you just have to, be well versed in everything, I think.
Yeah.
So what's the goal with acting? What's the end result? What are you trying to get from it?
My goal
has
always been to be a working actor. I don't want to be famous. I just want to be working. I want to make money doing this. I want to have fun. I feel like the first half of my life was so serious, and the military was such a serious thing.
Right.
And now it's I want to have fun in my life. I want this to be a career that I enjoy. Not that I didn't love the Air Force, but there's definitely there's not so positive of stuff that happens, and
I think they control you where you're controlling your own narrative now, literally.
So for me, I feel like I just want to be a working actor. I want to be one of those older women someday that you can look back on your career and say I'm so proud of what I did, and I don't have to be famous. I can just be working consistently and be like, oh God, she looks familiar. I know her from something, but you know, you can't put your finger on it, but if fame happens, that's fine. I'm okay with it, but it's not my goal, you know, to be.
I saw your fame and Ray Donovan. I was like, oh shit, I know her. I was like, that's my homegirl Heather right there. I know her.
My goal
But that's, go ahead.
My goal is to be as famous as possible.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yes.
No, I would love to be like a showrunner, you know, like the guys that created Game of Thrones, where they get to be a part of, like, have their hands in the writing aspect and the producing aspect. I love that. I love the ability to have a say, like you were saying, you know. And to create content for myself and for my sister and for my friends, you know, because they're so talented. And it's like, when you know people really well, you know yourself really well, then you can write really good content for yourself. So for me, it's to be a working actor, but to be doing the stuff that I'm making, you know.
Right.
To constantly being creative. And
I think it's a beautiful time too, because you see this, it's kind of changing a little bit. Like, women are coming into the forefront a little bit more. And I think it's the perfect time to come into this industry as a woman too, because we have to work 1,000 times harder than the guys in this industry. So, and we keep noticing, you know, that too. We just want to keep that strength going, and we just want to, like, bring about this new wave of, like, women empowerment in this business. And, you know,
I mean, it's been happening for a while, but it's like when you see the women, when you see the results of the Halle Berry, you know, Emma Thompson, who's writing her own stuff. These women, Mindy Kaling is like a huge inspiration. She's just one thing after the other, pumping it out, like all these great ideas. It's like they're creating, you know, kind of like starting the path for everybody else. So, it's good.
Plus,
it feels good to be a part of it now. I'd say like 20 years ago, I wouldn't have been comfortable in.
Fresh off of active duty at 22, I think it would have been a nightmare coming out here in like 2004 when like we had to be wearing like super low cut everything and have fake boobs and like be super blonde and like, you know, so it's just a different time, thankfully.
Yeah, I agree, because I'm recognizing now that in the past it was a majority male dominant field. Right? You didn't really see really big name female actresses that were highlighting, that were main characters in movies or anything. They were being more objectified, like how Halle Berry's going to get an Oscar for Monsters Ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's done so much other great work, but the part that she wanted because she put her body and exposed herself, like that's not, you know, like, come on. And then all of a sudden, it's like, as the years go by, you're absolutely right. I feel like the woman are empowering themselves more to be like, we can be equals with them. You know, to me, I have Denzel, but you also have Meryl Streep. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're now having to, you hit one with the male side, but the woman's side is hitting as well. Like, you're good, I'm good also. You know, but back in the days, it seems like a lot of directors, stuff like that, didn't really give the chance, because the movies they were making were more male to be the main actor, the main role, you know? But now it's changing. Now it's changing a lot to where females are taking over everything.
The people are dictating, like, the people want real, you know? They want to see the real women with the saggy tits. They want to see the, you know, they want to see the real guys too. I mean, of course, everyone wants to look at Brad Pitt or whoever's like the current hottie, but like,
they're old now. We don't want to look at old saggy balls like that. No, we don't look at that.
But I think, like, in the commercial world, especially, like Heather was saying, every audition is like, we want real, we want people that are flawed, we want, you know, real quirky
people with quirks.
Face isn't perfect, you know,
tattoos, like the whole range of people. You know, it's great.
When you girls go audition, do you go together, or is it separate, or do you look out for each other? Like, hey, there's an audition coming on, you want to come? Like, how does that work? And do you guys get, like, sort of drink that haterade that you're like, damn, she got that audition, I wanted that audition, nothing like that? Like,
I should tell them the Zaxby story. So it's a military audition that we both went up for separate, but we both got auditions for it. And Heather booked it. I got to shoot the Zaxby's commercial. It's a chicken.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But you know, it's funny because her and I, we almost did identical auditions. We had to, like, woo, and like, we both were very similar, and they picked her. And it was just one of those moments where it's like, you know what, good for her. She nailed it. I was close.
We really try to, like, keep that camaraderie there. It's hard sometimes. It really is if one of us is
Right.
getting an audition over the other. But at the end of the day, I'm just rooting for her so hard.
Yeah.
I just want her to get a role. I want her to get that audition. And it doesn't matter, like, if she books more than me or I book more than her. Like, we're both on the same team.
Because it's like
rooting
if
for
she
each
wins,
other.
I win in a lot of ways. And I feel
Correct.
like not even with sisterhood, like with other actor friends, like I would hope that other actors are rooting for their friends and not like, oh, fuck that
Right.
guy, you know, he got this. Because it's like, it doesn't serve you to be jealous, and every person is so different. And even her and I are different. You know, we look exactly the same,
Right.
but we're not. And so I think it serves both of us to like be supportive and support the people
Right.
around us, because
It's a toxic energy that you feel from other actors. Sometimes you become friends with them and then you realize that they're not out, they don't have your back, or they're not rooting for you.
Right.
And obviously those people can't stay in your life, but you don't want that kind of energy, especially in this field when it's so competitive and you're like up for the same role, like literally up for the same roles with your sister.
yeah.
Like I would never want to have that kind of vibe with her. So like there's auditions we go on together that are twin based, and then we have our separate ones too. And our theatrical agent, she was like, if you guys get an audition, make sure you both go together because they might want to see you. But then the pandemic happened.
Right.
And we haven't really had that opportunity to do that. So we just kind of do them separate if we get them separate.
How often are you girls getting gigs? Like, how often are you getting told, hey, these auditions are here, there? Is it frequent, or just right now it's very seldom that you get opportunities?
Right now, like through, like this is technically pilot season, the old pilot season. Usually it's very quiet for us. Our time to
Wow.
shine is usually like in the summer for whatever reason, like summer
Okay.
and fall. Like last fall, we booked a movie called The Grotto that'll be coming out, I think, at the end of this year. So that has
Okay.
Joanne Gleason.
Congrats.
She's a Broadway star. Shameless plug right now, by the way. But we booked that together, and it's a feature
Right.
film. It's like an indie feature, so we'll be in that.
Awesome.
You would be
Okay.
surprised, though, how few auditions come rolling in, and that's why we
Wow.
have to be prepared, because usually I would say we average like maybe once a month, maybe two a month.
But they're really big.
This past
you know?
5 months, I went October 1st I had an audition. March 4th was my last audition, so I went 5 months in between auditions. So that kind of, I guess, dry spell can really weigh on you, and that's why you got to keep plugging away with your own projects and keep being inspired or take a class of some kind, because you just never know when they
Right.
roll in. All of a sudden you get one, and then you have the audition a day or two later. You know, it happens very fast, so you just never know. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's like,
It's
But
like
that's-
any profession, though. Like, you're always practicing, right? Like, I always think of it as like a doctor is always practicing medicine. You know? Like,
I hope
let
so.
me compare acting to medicine.
yeah, it's just like that.
It's just like that. So you have to be practicing.
I mean, I hope he's staying practicing. I hope so. But no, you're refining your craft.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why you have to do those web series or whatnot, because if not, there's a chance that it might slowly go away if you're not always repetition, if you're not always constantly doing it. You know what I'm
Watch
saying?
the shows,
So that's good
you
that
know?
you stay on top of it.
Watch, like, read plays. There's so many really solid plays
Right.
out there that you can learn so much from. Or, just get a script and do a cold read with another actor friend and like learn how to turn it over and put it in your own words, and just like come from it from a real place. There's just like so many ways that you can stay present as an actor that I think a lot of
So-
people use excuses like the pandemic or
Right.
whatever. But if you're really an actor, you're really an actor. Like, be an actor.
Right. Yeah. You guys have that community? You have other actor friends that you could do that with and everything else?
Yeah, we have a small amount of actor friends because, like, I was saying, it can be competitive, and sometimes you have
Right.
friends that you think that are your friends until you book something, and all of a sudden it's like massive jealousy, or something
Right.
happens, they like cut you out of their life all of a sudden. You're like, what happened? Like, it's just a very weird,
dramatic.
very weird vibe. Like you would imagine the community theater world would be. It's very
Right.
like fickle in that way. So I have a couple solid people I went to school with in Missouri that are out here, and then we have a couple people from Playhouse that we hang out with. So we keep a small,
very
tight
small
knit
bubble.
kind of.
Yeah. You have to. I mean, it's just like, when you see people, for me, we call those people connects, So like if one of my boys is like, yo, I just got promoted to manager Universal, I'm like, so where are the discount tickets? You know what I'm saying? And you hook me on. The manager friend's like, might as well just work there then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I could see where the jealousy would be at, especially because I could see them looking at it as like, how can you help me out?
Yeah.
Hook a brother up,
And I
sort
think,
of concept.
yeah,
You
we
know what I'm
try to
saying?
help our friends too. Like if there's something that rolls in that's like a casting, and I saw something from my friend, like, oh my God, you would be perfect for this. Like, did you see this on Actors Access?
Right.
Like, hey, do you have a nice setup in your house for self tapes? You know, we kind of like watch each other's backs like that too. Because there's people that tend to withhold information from other actors, or like,
super weird.
You know, you hear the interviews from actors that are like, oh yeah, it just happened like this, and you know, there's no work put into it, you know, and
wow,
there's no honesty there. So I feel like Heidi and I are going to try to be as honest as we can with people about this stuff, and straightforward, because it doesn't serve me to be like, yeah, I'm just so talented and I just booked this, and it's like, no, there's a lot of hard work that goes into this,
and the military, I feel like, contributed to my work ethic. I think I had a good work ethic as a teenager, but like it really like show up on time to your auditions, turn your self tapes in on time, if not like immediately, you know, like using the military. It's like I have that ingrained in me still, where it's like, I'm going to show up on time. I'm going to follow through. Right. And you would be so surprised at how many people in LA are just
so
flaky.
So
They self-sabotage. They are scared. And so that comes out in many weird ways, you know? So it's like, I feel like there's a huge benefit to having that military background and just like the consistency, you know?
And you'd be surprised too, like how similar the TV and film world is to the military. Anytime I'm on a set or on a studio lot, I'm like, oh my God, this was made by military people. You can tell, like back in the early 1900s, like the way that their systems are set up, the structure of it, it's very military based almost, like very similar.
Like this person is in charge, and this is the director, and then all these people fall below them, and then they fall, you know, like a pyramid.
You know, just how
you got your hierarchy there, your structure.
Yeah, it's very similar. So I think it would be it's a good transition for military to go into acting, because it's so it's very, very similar, very paralleled.
Do you guys see yourselves, depending if you know, hopefully the day comes that you make it big, will you be the type of actresses that will take anything? Or will you be like, no, I don't do this anymore. Like, I just need to focus more on these type of genres or whatnot. Or will you be like Samuel L. Jackson? That guy he's in everything. He's in every movie, no matter if it's horrible or what. That dude is, because he just likes to do it. You know, I feel like he's just very humble. Like, I'm an actor, so if you provide me with a script and I like it, then I'm going to act.
That's
you know,
how I
do
feel.
you see your ladies like that's how you're going to be? Or you're going to be like, no, I don't do that no more. Like, now I'm here.
We have this policy, like, would we show our boobs for any network? And I think it would be HBO.
HBO.
Like,
I mean, the answer is
oh, you have to. You have to.
HBO.
Yes,
However,
I agree.
Another network.
Or Showtime.
Yeah, but I feel like a Samuel L. Jackson girl, like I would want, like I don't want to do super shitty projects, obviously, but if there's something that comes along that's, you know, it gives me a chance to act, then absolutely.
Yeah, I would say my policy is if there's something to gain from it, if I can be a better person, if I can be a better actor, if there's something like really rich in the context of it, I of course would do it. You know, even if it's a small role in some, you know, person that I admire in their project, it would be beneficial to work with the people you admire, you know.
There's a lot of cheeseball movies out there, like the Sharknado ones come to mind, and like, you know, if that came along, I don't know if I could say no to it, honestly. I don't know if I could be like, no, I'm gonna pass on that, because I mean, it's Sharknado, so it's like,
but it's Sharknado like 100. So you know they're making so many of it. Or you could be in one of Nicolas Cage's movies.
He's playing
you know that guy. That's another guy that says no to everything.
I love that he has a movie playing himself coming out. Like if I can get to that level. Heidi Schwitt playing Heidi Schwitt. Like,
now, do you feel like, even though you went through the schools, you got the certifications, the degrees, and everything else, do you feel like even if you was to reach the highest peak, are you still learning to be an actress?
Yeah, always.
Do you feel like it's always nonstop changing and everything else?
Because you're always changing as a person. You know, who I am today is not who I was when I left the military 11 years ago, 12 years ago. Who I am now is not going to be who I am in 10 years as an actor or person. So it's like, just trying to find those ways to find out who you are through acting, through reading, through experiences in life. Like, you know, if you're an actor too, I remember like some of my great teachers would say, like, don't just be an actor, you know, like go to museums, like learn a new language, like get yourself out in the world, travel, broaden yourself, because that just makes you richer.
I'm always surprised too when I get on a set, like, you're always like, I'm ready. I'm here for this. I'm so jazzed to be here. And then you get there and like, it's not just about your acting. It's like the 8 million other steps that have to go in place before you can say your line. And I've been on a set where it wasn't the most positive of experiences, and it just was.
You're gonna list them?
No, I'm not. But it was a huge learning experience for me because the director was an asshole. She was a famous TV director. She was a total a-hole.
Right.
And I think you have to work with personalities like that. You have to learn how to manage. And you're nervous. You're an actor. You're just there for the day, you know, to say your line. And but there's all these other moving parts that go into place. Like it's a movement, or you have to be here at a certain time. There's blocking, and then there's a camera coming in, and then you have to speak loud enough for them to hear you. There's just a lot of different things that you have to learn, and you have to learn it fast, like right in the moment. And it's a lot of pressure, and it's interesting how every set is different and every job is different, and you just have to kind of roll with the punches.
Be adaptable.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Do you guys memorize your lines quick?
I think
or it takes a while.
Pretty average. Yeah. I don't think I'm like a super fast memorization.
Yeah.
But it isn't. I think it's very important to be memorized. You know, there's some people that don't, or there's, you know, wait till the last minute. But if you can memorize it as quickly as possible and have it be in you so that it's just like second nature, that's the best way.
As much as possible.
As much as you, because you're going to be on set and you're going to have, like Heather was saying, like that camera coming in, the director yelling something, and you're going to lose it unless it's like really in you.
Yeah.
So.
And it's so interesting. Some actors are on set and they're just like, okay, well, I'm looking at my script, learning it right before they say action. I'm like, what? How could you do that? Maybe they're just used to it. Maybe they're like so professional that they don't have to memorize. But it's interesting to see that. I'm like, I would never do that, you know, because I want to be prepared. I want to feel confident in the scene, and I would never like want that experience of like screwing it up. So.
I'm trying to get Mike to do some silent movies. I told him he'll be good. I think he'll be good at it.
Really good.
He'll be extraordinary at it.
No, but one of the things I want to ask y'all though is like going back to what y'all said earlier. Y'all went to school for this. By chance, did y'all use y'all's GI Bill to actually go to school?
I did. Yep, I sure did. I used part of my main GI Bill, and then I used the 9/11 GI Bill. And I was able to get most of my school. I think I had 1 year of it that I had to pay for on my own, but it paid for so much of it. And I went to school like in Madison at a technical college too, and it paid for all of that. And it's been a huge blessing. Huge.
My acting school is not accredited, so I actually got my degree in psychology out here at Cal Lutheran, and my GI Bill paid for that. So I'm grateful I have that degree. Because it's basically the same. Psychology and acting. Behavior.
Right.
It's a huge
one of the things y'all mentioned was, you know, talking about there's more women, right, that are coming into now becoming actors. What about like, do y'all ever have an issue when you say, hey, we're veterans, and people are kind of always think it's your husband, or kind of like, hey, who is it's like, are y'all sure y'all are veterans type of thing? Do y'all ever go to that kind of stuff?
I haven't experienced that. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
But there does seem to be like I don't know, like if it's a woman thing, like
the reaction for me is like, "You're a veteran, you?"
For real?
Yeah. It's more of like that. Oh, you're too this to be in the military, or you know, you're feminine, you're pretty, you know, well, I just tell them I was in the Air Force.
Yeah, shocks people almost.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like, you know, y'all mentioned especially about veterans, you know, taking over acting, like, and y'all kind of mentioned y'all's work ethic and those type of things. And especially, I think, just to even have good energy to kind of sit there and say, hey, man, we're going to cheer each other on. I mean, those are just things I think, like, you got to be good people, right? Like, you probably, like, you know, the people you are meeting, they're maybe not the best people. And no matter how much you try to act your way out of it, like, you're still there, right?
Yeah.
So when y'all start talking about those things, right? Y'all started talking about going the other side. Now, the pandemic, y'all said y'all flourished. Do you think that really helped y'all cement y'all's creativity?
Yeah, I think so, because it kind of forced us to regroup a little bit, because you're waiting for stuff on the outside of you all the time, like to come in. And it really forced us to like, okay, how are we going to stay creative during this time? Like, what are we going to do, like, to push ourselves? So we came up with Hot Take Tarot, which is a silly web series doing, tarot
It's awesome.
readings. And, we did a Youper movie about Upper Michigan. And I think that was like right prior to the pandemic starting. But we're just trying to stay as creative as we can. And we're even thinking, what's the next thing we're going to do?
Exactly.
'Cause we gotta keep thinking that.
That's a good mindset to have, because you don't want to get complacent into just doing, like, let's say if Hot Take Tires was flourishing, you don't want to just be complacent, be like, okay, this is a moneymaker, so let's just continue to do this often. Like I always tell Mike, for me, Mike is a hustler. Like he always had side hustles, even though he's doing his primary job, but he's always doing other YouTube channels. He's doing all sorts of other things. And I'm just like, dude, like, relax, but he's like, no. I need to be like, what's next? What can I do next? Like, for example, his hat. His hat is going to be a clothing product that him and his wife want to get into. But, he's always thinking, what's next? But you have to be that way. You sort of got to program yourself to do it. Eventually my GI Bill is going to run out. I can't be going to school forever and just collect the housing allowance. Like, I'm going to have to find work eventually after it's all said and done. But again, I'm trying to set myself up. I'm getting 2 different degrees because I'm giving myself a change of background. So when I go into the work field, I could go either this way or I could go either that way. You know what I'm saying? But you have to program yourself to do that, because we're not all rich. Hopefully one day we will be, but if God forbid a pandemic happens again, it's like, what do you do? What do you fall back on? Where's the emergency? Because that's opened up a lot of eyes. People in the hospitality business, fired.
Totally.
If you didn't have a mission essential job, fired. And then what were people doing? I know some people that were going stir crazy. I was good at home chilling. I was like, this is like one of my deployments. Like, I sit here and watch Netflix all day. That sounds familiar. So I'm good with it, but a lot of people were like, no, I'm going crazy in the house, but you can't do nothing because you were in the hotel business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you sort of got to program yourself to keep that mind. Don't stay complacent. Keep moving forward and everything else.
To go off of what you're saying, like about the different kinds of projects, it's important, I think, to have deadlines, because otherwise, like, your focus is not. You can focus. Anything can happen in your life, and it's going to take over your life. But if it's like, we're filming Hot Take Tarot on Sunday between 12 and 2 or whatever it is, then we know we're doing it. And I think that's really important. That to me has been like the biggest takeaway from filmmaking, is like, just set a deadline. Oh, the script's not done yet? Oh, well, you're going to shoot it on this day, because that's what we planned. And you stick to that day, and you don't push it off. And it's like anything you're doing, apparel, music, whatever it is, I feel like you have to set those deadlines so that you can stay laser focused on it and keep pushing forward, even if you're not ready, like, just do it.
Yeah.
So
I love what you said too, Izzy, about having the 2 different degrees, and Mike's doing his projects, because like I have an emergency management associate through CCAF, and I did 911 dispatching before I came out here. I think it's just so important to have other things too that you can focus on. If maybe acting is a little bit slow, maybe you have your job or you have your side hustle over here. Like, that's so important, and I think actors could take note of that, in general, because it's just better to have multiple things going on in your life. Be a normal person, have other goals, have other projects.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, we have our projects for acting, but we have other stuff too. We go travel, have other passions, live your life and have experiences so you can be a richer actor.
Yep. Absolutely. Do you have any, so what are your projects now?
Well, Hot Take Tarot, and then we started a Youpers in LA, like Upper Michigan backwoods girls in Los Angeles. So that's kind of new. We're kind of testing it out a little bit.
Yeah, and
So what is that about? What's the premise behind that one?
It's basically like 2 Youper backwoods women that go to LA for whatever reason for however long, and they're just experiencing.
I saw an episode on that. It's funny, yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much. We're trying to write a feature film to that concept too. We have an outline going right now for for like a Yooper movie, just because it's where we're from is such like a backwoods,
so specific,
backwoods like northern town area that it's just so nobody's really seen that on TV too much. Besides some of like the what's that show from Missouri, the Ozarks, kind of like the
Ozark.
You
That was a great show.
Characters like real backwoodsy, but this is a funny version of like those serious ones. So.
Yeah, I was telling Izzy about that one. I was watching it, and it's like for a moment I forgot y'all are twins because the characters switch off, and I was just like I was so confused the whole time. I was like, "What's going on here?" Because I'm following it, but I'm like I got confused. I was like, "Oh, that's right." Like because it's just, and that's what I like about the editing is like you're doing the frame so clean that you're literally saying the same thing. The only thing you can tell is just a small detail. And so I like that because it kind of threw me off of like I'm trying to figure out A, what's going on, and B, like what's going on with his accent. And then I'm like, yeah, that's right, they're twins, so of course they're gonna be looking, but it's like that smallest detail. And I like I said, I like the editing. I like that's what I'm doing now, more things. And I just like it's creative. That's why I was asking about the creative process because it's something. It's almost like you find people that once they get around a certain group or demographic, and I'm pretty sure y'all are throwing around actors, but then you start forgetting there's normal people out there that do different things. And so it's like y'all have these side jobs. Does that help y'all stay kind of like people to kind of characters to go off of?
Yeah. Whenever we go home to Michigan, I'm like, oh my God, this is such a plethora of like rich character-based information. Like we could put this in a project, like something my dad said, or like somebody that I encountered in a grocery store, like that one lady that said she didn't like eat lettuce.
Oh my God, I bought lettuce and she's like, wow, what's it like to eat salads like that? And I was like, she's serious. I'm like, let me write this down.
So yeah, anytime we travel, like, especially back to our hometown area, like in northern Michigan, it's definitely a character-y place. So I get inspired. I really do. Yeah. I get inspired when I see other people, and it's not to make fun of them necessarily. It's just to like, have fun and appreciation, I like to say. It's really, we have a love for that area and those people, and it's a simple place, and, it's great.
Yeah, I would love to have you guys in a Devalle reunion. you guys will pick up a lot of good stuff from there, especially coming from my mother's voice. You'll pick up a lot of good stuff. So let's talk about Hot Take Tara. First of all, I love it.
Thank you.
It's to me it's I like just the first of all the accent, right? We're gonna talk about that, the accent, and you transform to I sort of look at it as like these alter egos, right? And just the chemistry, even though you're sister, but just the chemistry of how your dialogue is just on point with one another. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you hit it, she hits it. You hit it, she hits it. And a lot of it doesn't look like, and maybe I'm wrong in this, but is this from off the dome, or you guys are scripting something, or you guys just going improv, like you said, improv? You're improvising. Yeah. And it's incredible because I'm dying laughing.
I'm so glad.
Seriously, I am, and it's really good. So tell me, like, how did Hot Take Towers come about? Like, what made you ladies say, "Oh my God, this would be such a good concept or a good web series if we did this"? And why the tarot reading? Like, what was all of that about? Explain that to me. And
yeah, I want to say it started because I've been working on the accent for years, just trying to get it down and working on it. Like I got gum in the front of my mouth, and like then once you get
now, where's the accent from though? Is that I know it's the East Coast, yes?
I mean, we think it's Long Island. I mean,
Long Island. Okay, yes, absolutely. I thought New York, New Jersey.
Yeah.
So, but go ahead.
Yeah, so it was like I would bring it to school, I would bring it to Playhouse, and I would do characters on stage with it just to practice it and see what it brought out in me. And it like literally brings out another person, a real alter ego in me. And when Heather and I would do it together, it was like we turned into these feisty, we just had these spats and cat fights almost that were incredible that we wouldn't normally have like in our Heidi and Heather day to day. So
I'm a very soft, like introverted person. So when I do the accent, all of a sudden I'm just this totally different person.
Right.
Then we were like, well, let's come up with a concept, and we're like, maybe a cooking show, maybe this and that. And like, I truly love tarot and astrology and the spiritual stuff. And Heather one day was like, let's do tarot readings. And I'm like, God damn it, that's brilliant. Ding! And then of course course, you know, we're like amateurs and it's like figuring out the readings, but we're actually doing real readings for people in it. Like real messages are coming through, which I find fascinating. So we've done like private readings for people. We're going to do one for you, Izzy, Mike. It's up to you if you want a card, like we'll do it. But that's sort of how it came about.
Yeah, and we don't really, I don't feel like we're doing it to get followers necessarily, because we don't have a huge following on YouTube. We're doing it for us and like just to have that content and that practice of improvising together, and we're doing it for our own joy, really. And if people want to hop on board that ride, great. You know? But it's also like we're not doing it just to like, hey guys, you know, like this, you gotta watch that. It's just really for entertainment and joy,
and the practice of like watching yourself on camera afterwards as an actor is so valuable. Mm-hmm. So it's like, now I know that tick that I do or this, you know, and it's like, how can I improve upon it every time I watch myself? So yeah, that's a main takeaway from doing it too.
It's really fun. That's the bottom line.
That is
fun.
I love that. I really do. And I just want to say this. I am super, super proud of you girls.
Thanks,
since the beginning of your journey, of you guys, you know, us becoming friends, and just throughout your life and your career and everything else, to see that you ladies landed on your dreams and you're still pursuing your dreams. Like even though you hit, like sometimes you will do a movie here, there, or commercial, like you actually live in it, but you're not just being like conceited with it. You know what I'm saying? You're still just trying to continue to be good people, continue to better yourselves and everything else. Like I'm truly proud of you girls. And if the offer still stands to be your PR guy, I will be moving to LA to be your PR guy.
But yeah, you can be PR too. Absolutely.
You're hired.
So what I want to do is I would love, Hot Take Tara is Teresa and Tiffany, correct?
Tiffany, you know it.
And Teresa, right?
Yeah, we got to make sure
we know which one we are.
I would love. So we're gonna say goodbye to Heidi and Heather. Thanks for coming.
Let me get a drink of water, Izzy, real quick. I gotta get my water in.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you to Hot Take Tarot, where they're gonna be conducting my tarot reading. Is Tiffany and Teresa. Welcome to the podcast, ladies.
So much. It's about goddamn time, you know. Oh my God.
So give me a reading, ladies. Let me hear it.
We're going to do a 3-card spread for you, Izzy. And we're going to see what, maybe this month or maybe this year, really, what is coming up for you, you know? And I don't know if you want to give us an intention or, you know, maybe we should pray to our spirit guides.
Spirit guides, be with us. Guide us through Izzy's life, because God knows we need it.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
So, all right. So I'll pick one. The first one, number 1, number 2, and number 3.
Okay. So let me do number 1. Is that good?
Please do.
Okay. Spirit needs a lift.
Oh, yeah. We get this one a lot.
We do.
Yeah.
Uplifting activities and self-care are needed. So, Izzy, I don't know if you're drinking yourself to death.
Yes.
What the fuck you doing?
Yeah.
Your spirit needs a lift. You need a little self-care. Does this resonate with you at all?
It does. Now that I'm in school, I've been drinking a lot, actually. So it actually does resonate with me.
Well, I mean, it's time for massages. It's time for some naps.
Acupuncture, maybe, you know, some detoxing of some kind, you know. You know, it's up to you. Or you just keep drinking, you know. You just keep drinking away at it, you know. Maybe get some higher quality liquor, you know.
I was going to say, what's your love life like right now? Does it need a lift?
Oh, it's not. It does. It's non-existent right now. It's non-existent.
Okay, well, I don't know.
I think it needs a lift.
Yeah. Yeah, love life. Okay,
right,
let's
number
do two.
Number 2, release baggage.
Oh, shit.
Okay, give up anything that doesn't serve you, all right? Give up anything that doesn't serve you. You know, this is looking like, you know, spirit needs a lift. You need to get rid of somebody or something that might not be in your best interest. So maybe ponder that for a second.
Yeah, maybe you have a group of people around you, some friends or something, or maybe it's something that's bothering you. I wouldn't be afraid to walk away from it.
Is that the devil falling out of the helicopter?
Literally.
Oh my God.
Oh,
falling
man.
out of the helicopter into the pits of despair. So I think you're getting rid of this devil energy.
There's a snake, there's a suitcase, and there's the devil falling out of your life. I think
maybe he's traveling somewhere. I don't know. Maybe
I am going to Dominican Republic next month.
Holy shit. Oh my God. So, okay, a lot of sense, but it
I
all
think-
lies on the third card.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Oh, this
Oh,
is
okay.
beautiful.
This is really
Dance
good.
for joy. A very joyful time in your life. You know, look at that fire energy. Yes, it's a woman, but
Nice.
you're a dancer, Izzy. I know this. I
Yeah,
danced
you
with
got
you.
some moves. I remember.
That's
you
right.
know, this is amazing. This is a time for celebration. So you're coming into some really good times
Yeah,
here. You're going
let's
to get
hope
rid
we
of
saw.
this person, thing,
Yeah.
situation, and you're going to be celebrating.
Yeah, I think once
Yes.
you kind of recognize that and uplift yourself, and then you get rid of the shit in your life, you're going to be dancing for joy. I think this is a very simple, straightforward reading for you.
Yeah.
You know? It's
How are you
beautiful.
feeling about this reading? Does it land anywhere? What do you think?
It's-
Is it full
Is
of
it all
shit?
bullshit?
It's right on point. It really is.
Good.
Because I do need uplifting. Like I said, I've been drinking because of school. School's been giving me a fucking headache, and because of my professors. So maybe my professor's the one I need to get fucking rid of once
There
I
you
pass
go.
her class, and then I'll be dancing for joy once I graduate, and it'll be all said and done,
That
and
makes
I'll
sense
be
right
over
there.
with it.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Right to the ball.
Awesome.
Beautiful reading. Mike, you
Appreciate
want
it,
a
ladies.
card?
Awesome.
Yeah, Mike, you want
let's
to
do
card
it.
or what?
Yeah, as long as
Let's
it's not
do
as
it.
bad as his.
Let's
Yeah,
do it.
definitely.
Let's do
Pull
my.
one card for Mike. I feel like he just needs
He
one.
needs one, and it's going to be a big one.
Let's do two. Let's do two. Give him two. Give him two.
Right, I like that. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just pull them real quick.
Okay, number one and number two right here. All right, Mike. Rest.
Oh,
Physical and
interesting.
mental break required.
Oh, you are overtaxed.
Do you need a nappy nap? Because I think you do. You know, take a
I'm
little
fucking
nappy
exhausted.
nap.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Put that pillow under your head and maybe take a little snooze with it. You know, yeah, that's pretty straightforward. You know.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. It just, there's someone in bed there. It looks like he needs some extra Z's.
He does.
Enjoy.
He really does. I keep telling him he does too much and he's lacking sleep. He really is lacking
Oh,
sleep.
well,
Look
your
at that.
spirit guides
Right
are
on point.
Mike.
Yeah,
There you
they
go.
sure are.
Yep.
Now they're really going to say something.
Ooh.
Oh, promotion.
Interesting.
So all this hard work you're doing, Mike, is going to have a payoff because you're going to be the fat cat sitting at that desk.
He's sitting at his desk.
He's sitting there right now.
Yeah.
It says new business or job recognition. So I think you're going to get recognized. One of your ventures that you have, something's happening.
But you got to rest because if you don't, you're going to burn yourself out, you know? So get that rest and get into a position of getting promoted.
Yeah.
You're almost there. I feel like you're there already. There's
Yeah.
a good energy.
Yeah,
that
I got
feel,
cats
so.
and everything, so we're there.
All right.
I think
I think
We're
our
gonna
work
hire
here is
Izzy.
done, you know, I think you know, that's really straightforward. So.
Yeah, we don't usually get
Awesome.
direct feedback either. So. Let's go to the you says and we never hear anything. So this is good.
Thank you, Tiffany and Teresa. That was awesome. I loved it. And you know, I'll be honest, you guys were right on point with Mike because he does need to sleep. He did have a little talk within his work about trying to, you know, get some more money and things like that. So that could be the promotion aspect of it. And plus, like I said, now he's doing his other hustles. That's a promotion aspect out of his trying to grow his little empire. So you ladies were right on point, baby.
It's good
Right
to
on
know.
point.
It's good to know that we're very spiritual and we know what we're doing.
You know our shit, you know.
We drink a lot of coffee. We get in the car. we'll go to our next tarot reading. Yeah. Well, ladies, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I love your
thanks for
skits.
having
Your
us.
skits are awesome. Your web series are awesome. And I wish nothing but the best for you ladies to continue to grow, to continue to reach your goals and see you in the big screens and everything. And hopefully one day we're winning an Oscar. Hopefully we're giving acceptance speeches and everything else. But continue forward. Don't stop. Don't get complacent. And continue to be there for each other, which is all, because you don't really see a lot of siblings that are as close knitted as you guys are. I mean, from the very beginning that I met you guys to even to where we're at now, you guys are still together.
Yeah.
You know, my brothers that are twins, one's in New York, the other one's here in Florida. They could care less if they're together or not. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, it is what it is. But continue to go forward. I'm so proud of you ladies, for
Thank
real.
you guys so
Thank you,
much.
Proud of you.
Nice to meet you, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you, Izzy.
no
I
problem.
love you
Well,
and
do y'all
miss
have
you.
anything?
Thank you.
What are y'all on besides YouTube?
What was that?
what are you on besides YouTube? So we got YouTube, right? What else do y'all have?
The Instagrams at Pretty Schlitty Productions. We're not on TikTok, although we're talking about it.
We're warming to it.
Mm.
Yeah. Warming to it.
But mostly Instagram and YouTube. At Pretty Schlitty on YouTube and Pretty Schlitty Productions on IG.
Yeah.
And that's SCHILLITY.
Oh God! Start from the top.
PRETTY SCHLITTY. Pretty Schlitty.
Awesome, ladies. I'm happy for
well,
you
ladies,
guys.
it's amazing to see like where y'all have come from, you know, like, and it's even nice when someone can sit there and say, man, I've known them since they were like, 18. Like, if you look back at 18 years old, like we don't know nothing. Yeah. And to see where y'all have gone now to really, like you're saying, I mean, most people, we see like actors as like, oh man, they're making all this money, or like you see them on a TV show, but no one ever thinks about like what happens after that, right? Like, or what are you doing in between, or how you do it? So it's really nice. Thank you for like pulling a little bit of behind the curtain in the sense of like, man, you're still got to go get it. Like I guess I don't know what movie it was, but we just always think of like, you got off a bus, someone's like, hey, you look beautiful. Let's go put you in some movies. And then, right, you're right off to sunset. But I mean, I'm looking at your stuff right now. Y'all have tons and tons of videos. When you go there, it's not like y'all been doing this for 2 weeks. Like y'all been putting in consistently hard work. And it's evident beyond belief, like I said. And the Yompers one, what was funny, which if someone goes look at it, there's a part where you have the bathing suit and the girl has like the underneath. And it's just, I don't know if that's based off a real person or not, but that caught me. Jesus. It was just like.
Yeah, she really had a lip tick on her vagina. Is that the one you're talking
No,
about?
he's talking about.
It's the first one where she's like introducing.
Oh, yeah, that one too.
Yeah.
But if you go watch the movie version, there's a wood tick scene, and that really happened in real life. Yeah. But thank you, Mike.
Well, that's good. Well, no problem. Like I said, it's amazing to sit there and see. Especially, like I said, I was telling Izzy, like I got really confused really fast, and then the underwear threw me off. I was like, what is going on here? And then I'm hearing the accent, and so again, you're hearing a whole. I heard the other ones are saying like, okay, cool, so we're going to this one. And it just threw me off. But like I said, bravo on all those ones. Y'all went to school. Y'all put in y'all's hard work. And then most importantly, y'all are really the example of like, one of my biggest things is really like, veterans always sit there and say, I got done with the service and that's the highlight of my life. And y'all are clearly not doing that. It's great. I'm glad the military was a foundation and it was a stepping stone. And then, man, the rest, everything else is just in the sky for y'all because y'all doing those things. So it's amazing. Bravo to y'all ladies for that.
And thanks for having
I think
a
it's great.
podcast about veterans. Like, this is incredible. I enjoy it, and I can't wait to see who else you guys have on.
I'm always rooting for veterans. Anytime I see them in the acting world or just in life in general, it's like I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, we're all part of the same family, so.
Very true. So I'll say this.
Yes.
I want to promote that we'll have you guys on, not this week, but the following week. We'll do a YouTube live session.
Okay.
We'll bring Teresa and Tiffany back, and we'll just have a good time, talk about anything and everything. Like I said, this one will be more nonchalant. We'll just share stories, some horror stories, some funny stories, whatever the case may be. But we'll end it with this. What would you say? Let me hear from each of you. What advice would you give to up-and-comers, people that are in places like up north Michigan, people that are in places that don't see themselves going any further or even taking a chance or the risk to go to LA? What piece of advice would you give them?
I would say that you don't have to be in LA to be an actor or pursue your dreams. It's happening all around you in other markets. You don't have to move to this city, Chicago, Atlanta, all these other great places. Even if you're in Upper Michigan, make your own content, be brave, and just keep trying. And just, if you know you have that talent within you, let the world see it.
Yeah, and just, be your own critic, I guess. We are our own worst critics, but I would say just like kind of make your bubble to the people that are supportive of you, and nothing else matters, and allow yourself to fail, allow yourself to suck, do projects that are awful, start at something and fail at it, because then you're going to learn from that and you're going to grow, and just do it. Do what your passion is and what's in your heart.
And you're never too old. You're never too old. We need people of all ages in this business. So, and you're going to work much more actually if you're older and you have life experience. So don't be discouraged by your age.
Don't set yourself back because you need to lose 20 pounds or whatever. Just do it. Just do it.
Right.
Just do it. It's a Nike ad.
On that note, again, ladies, me and Mike, we appreciate you ladies coming onto our podcast. We appreciate you spending your time with us, sharing your story, your narrative, your history, and everything else. Got nothing but love for you ladies, and I can't wait to the next live session to where we could have so much more fun and everything else. So again, thanks, Heather Heidi. We appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, Izzy. Thank
And
you.
we'll see you at the YouTube live session.
All right.
Sounds good.
See you later.